It's a huge misconception that Adolf Hitler just woke up one day in 1939, spun a giant wheel of misfortune, and happened to land on Poland. That's not how it happened at all. The truth is way more intense. He was actually backed into a terrifying corner of his own making. By 1939, Germany had already swallowed Czechoslovakia whole, but that was really just an appetizer. The German war machine was starving, and it demanded to be fed. But here's the crazy part. Germany literally only had 3 directions it could go, and 2 of them guaranteed suicide. Think about it. If you're a dictator desperately looking for your next target, where do you even go? Let's play a quick game of geopolitical process of elimination. You'd probably look south, right? But sitting right down there are Hungary, Romania, and Bulgaria. And by this point, these guys are basically Germany's fiercely loyal henchmen. You absolutely don't whack your own crew. It's terrible for business and completely pointless. So boom, the South is instantly crossed off the list. Okay, so what about the West? Well, standing right there is France. And believe it or not, back then, France was universally considered to have the most terrifying elite land army in all of Europe. If Germany swings at France first, they don't just get France, they instantly invite Britain to the brawl. But here is the ultimate nightmare scenario. While Germany has its back turned, throwing punches at the French and the British in the West, Poland and the Soviet Union are sitting right behind them in the East, just waiting with some incredibly sharp knives. This brings us to an absolute, non-negotiable rule Hitler had drilled into his strategy: do not, under any circumstances, fight a two-front war. Fighting the West first is totally off the table because it leaves the back door wide open for a devastating attack. It would be literal military suicide. So, by sheer process of elimination, that leaves exactly one target left on the board: Poland. And for Hitler, this wasn't just some cold, tactical choice. This was deeply, deeply personal. After World War I, the Treaty of Versailles basically carved up German territory and handed massive chunks of it straight to Poland. They created this thing called the Polish Corridor, which awkwardly chopped off a piece of Germany, East Prussia, and left it totally stranded, like a lonely island. And let me tell you, the Germans were absolutely furious about this geographic insult. It was a lingering fury just waiting to explode. But here's where history turns into this twisted, dark comedy of errors. Because Britain and France, they actually saw all of this coming, and they honestly thought they were playing 4D chess to avoid a global bloodbath. Their populations were terrified of another war, so their leaders hatched a master plan. Let me ask you guys something. Has anyone here ever tried to manipulate a sociopath? Seriously, let me know in the comments how that worked out for you, because that's exactly what the Allies tried to pull off. Their grand strategy was dangerously simple. Just look the other way. They wanted to subtly encourage Germany to keep expanding east, right into the jaws of the Soviet Union. The unbelievably arrogant idea was to let Hitler and Stalin, 2 massive, terrifying threats, just rip each other to shreds, while Britain and France sat back, sipped their tea, and watched the fireworks. They figured, hey, if Germany attacks Poland, whatever, we just won't intervene. Let the wolf and the bear destroy each other. But Hitler completely tore up their script. Just days before he was supposed to invade Poland, he did the unthinkable. In a massive, jaw-dropping plot twist, he signed a non-aggression pact with the Soviet Union, the infamous Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. With one single signature, Britain and France's brilliant master plan completely vaporized. They were trying to carefully redirect a monster, and instead, that monster just made a deal with the devil. On September 1st, 1939, Hitler confidently unleashed hell on Poland. And what did Britain and France do? They absolutely panicked. They suddenly realized they had been played for absolute fools. Years of appeasement had left their militaries totally unprepared for an actual fight. So they declared war, but only on paper. And then they literally just sat there, paralyzed. They didn't launch a massive offensive, they didn't sweep in to save Poland, they just watched helplessly as Poland was brutally carved up by Germany from the west and the Soviet Union from the east. And just like that, the east was completely secure. Hitler didn't have to worry about a two-front war anymore. So he slowly turned around, and he looked west, right at France. Which really leaves us with a chilling question. What exactly do you do when the monster you tried to feed to your neighbor turns around, smiles, and locks eyes with you? Think about that for a second. If you were in their shoes, knowing what you know now, what would you have done? Let me know in the comments.